Spring AI gives you two ways to talk to an LLM, the ChatClient and the ChatModel. Today I want to talk about both of these and when to reach for one or the other. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dan Vega, Spring Developer Advocate at Broadcom. One of the questions I always get is, what are your favorite features about Spring AI? One of my favorite features is that we write code to an abstraction. With all these different models that are coming out, the latest and greatest models are the best ever, and the benchmarks say so. So when we write code, we don't want to write code to a specific model. We want to write to an abstraction so that we can easily swap out models and test different ones out to see which ones will work given the scenario we're trying to throw at it. So that is one of my favorite features. The way that this works is because we have a top-level API called the ChatClient. Underneath the hood, there's something called the ChatModel, and this is kind of what is talking to the individual LLMs like Anthropic or OpenAI or some open source model. So today I want to go through ChatClient, ChatModel, talk about them at a high level, and then we'll dive into some code and see some examples. All right, so here we are, ChatClient versus ChatModel. On the left, we have ChatClient is the high-level fluent API for talking to a chat model. You inject a builder, chain a few calls, and you get your answer. Much like the RestClient. If you've used the RestClient in Spring before, this will look very familiar. We have this fluent builder-style API, easy to read, easy to follow along. It's auto-configured for you. Just inject the builder and you can use the builder to create an instance of the ChatClient. You have built-in advisors, so things like memory and RAG and logging you get right away with the ChatClient. You can map your responses into POJOs automatically, so we can say .entity, give it a type, and we can take that string response that comes back and map it into a POJO. This is the recommended default for all apps. Like, start with the ChatClient. The ChatModel is the low-level interface that the ChatClient is built on, and that's important. We'll see this in code. You build a prompt, you call the model, and you read the chat response yourself. So we give it a call, we give it a prompt, we return the chat response, and we get the output ourselves. This is the foundation for what the ChatClient wraps. One implementation per provider. You build the prompt and parse the reply for low-level control or infra code. So here are two examples. We'll see these in code as we go today. So ChatClient versus ChatModel at a glance, high level versus low level. Much like RestClient or web client, this is kind of like the raw HTTP call. How you get it, you inject a builder for the ChatClient. You can inject the ChatModel directly. There is one implementation. Again, ChatClient and ChatModel are both interfaces. For the ChatModel, there's one implementation. So if we were using OpenAI like we will today, you'll get an OpenAI ChatModel. If you prompt it, this is how you can set that up. You get built-in advisors. You do not get this included with the ChatModel. You have to do this manually. You have structured output, so we can take that response and turn it into a type. You have to parse the chat response by hand over here. Best used for most apps. This is for low-level control. So again, just a kind of detailed look at how it works, all the things we just talked about above. So when to use what? Reach for the ChatClient for almost everything: prompts, RAG, tools, memory, structured output with minimal code. It is the public API for talking to a large language model. Drop down to the ChatModel when you need fine-grained control. If you're building reusable infra or want raw access to that chat response metadata, I will say this, even at the ChatClient level, you can return a chat response and get some of that low-level metadata if you want. So one-line summary, note internally ChatClient is built on top of the ChatModel. Both end up calling the same provider API. So that is ChatClient versus ChatModel at a high level. If you want to learn more, I would suggest heading over to the Spring AI documentation. Currently, we are on Spring AI 2.0. If you're using Spring Boot 4, you want to use Spring AI 2.0. If you're still on something like Spring Boot 3.5, you can go ahead and switch to a previous version, which in the case of the 3.x line, the latest version is 1.1.8. But you can come in here, learn more about the ChatModel by going into the reference docs. You can take a look at the ChatClient API, and you can learn more about some of the things we just talked about. So that's a good place to start. But I want to dive in and build a simple project so that we can see both of these in action. So I'm going to start with Java Spring Boot 4.1.0. We'll call this dev.dan Vega. We'll call this chat. And then we're just going to bring in a couple of dependencies. One is the web, because I'm going to build some like web endpoints that we can hit. And then the other is, what model do I want to use? Again, the nice thing about this is no matter what model we pick, we are writing code to an abstraction so that if we want to go ahead and change that model out later, we can. I'm going to use OpenAI. I'm going to go in and choose OpenAI. And to do that, I'm going to need an OpenAI API key. If you don't want to do that and you want to use something like Ollama, you can pick an open source model and follow the directions in the documentation and do something very similar. From there, I'll go ahead and click generate. This will download a zip file. It will give me everything I need, bootstrapped my application. I'm going to open this up in my favorite IDE, which is IntelliJ. You can open it up in whatever IDE or text editor you're most efficient in. I think we have what we need. What are we waiting for? Let's write some code. All right, so as I said, the first thing that you will need is an API key. So I have to come in here and configure my OpenAI API key. You can go ahead and just hard code this in. Do not check that in. For me, I actually have this in an environment variable called OpenAI API key. With that, that's everything you need. You can go ahead and start your application. Let's go ahead and run it. If you don't have that OpenAI API key, you'll get an error. It'll tell you you need that. That's the only property you need. There are a bunch of other properties you can configure. Check out the documentation to learn more about that. Once you have that in place, we can write some code to talk to an LLM. Let's just create a simple chat controller here. I'm going to create this as a REST controller. And here's where we need to get access to one of those APIs, the chat client or the chat model. So I'm going to start with the chat client. So chat client, we'll call this chat client. And again, you could go ahead and generate a constructor here, but the chat client doesn't get configured this way, right? We saw in the high-level overview that you actually need access to a builder. So let's dive into the chat client for a second and take a look at it. It is an interface, right? To create an instance of this, you could use one of the static factory create methods. So create. You'll notice that the chat client takes a chat model. So this is the chat model. This is the underlying low-level API that talks to a large language model. Again, an interface. If we look at the implementations for this, there's one because we have one provider on the class path, which is OpenAI. So there is an OpenAI chat model that knows how to talk to that API on the OpenAI side. So there's that. So back to the chat client, you can use one of those create methods. There's also a builder. So the builder is an interface, and it allows us to use a builder to create an instance of the chat client. If we look at the builder, there is an implementation of this. Spring will create this for us. The default chat client builder, it will go ahead and auto-wire this in for it. It has all the observability bits in there. If you're just starting off, and probably most of the time, this is what you want to use, right? So all we need to do here is declare this builder. So I'm going to call this builder. And because of that, because there's something that Spring is managing for us, that default implementation, it'll get auto-wired in for us. So we can use that builder to basically say builder.build, and we get an instance of the chat client. Now, what is this complaining about? Never assigned. Okay, so that is fine, never used. So now we have an instance of the chat client. We can go ahead and use it. So I'm going to create a simple get mapping. This will just be /chat, and I'm going to say public string chat. And now I'm going to use the chat client that we configured. So I'm just going to say return chat client. We can say prompt. And now I have a couple decisions to make, right? First off is the user message. This is the prompt that we're going to give the large language model. So let's say, tell me an interesting fact about YouTube. I want to learn something new about YouTube. Next, we need to decide, is this a blocking call or a non-blocking call? Spring AI provides support for both. It's a pretty simple query, so I'm just going to make a blocking call. And what do I want back? I just want back the string response. You can get a whole bunch of metadata back. I don't want any of that right now. I just want the string response. So that's it. that's the minimal code that you need to talk to an LLM. You need a chat client. You got to get an instance of it through the auto-configured builder. You use that chat client to send a prompt, make a blocking call, and get back the string response. So let's go ahead and rerun this example. And now what we'll do is, by default, this is going to start up on Tomcat on port 8080. This is a REST controller, which means it's taking requests and returning responses. So we should be able to make a GET request to localhost 8080/chat and get this response back. Now, you can do this in a browser. I'm going to do it in a terminal. You can use something like curl. I can never remember how to use curl, so I have this little utility called httpy. Basically, we're just making a GET request to localhost 8080/chat, and we'll see if we get a response back. It looks like it's taking a second, so it is making that call out. And if everything works, interesting fact, the very first YouTube video is still online. Me at the Zoo, uploaded by co-founder Jawad Karam. So if you want to go watch that, you can go watch that. So that is the chat client. Again, used for most instances. There's a bunch more we can do with that. I have some videos on Spring AI on my channel. There's also a 5.5-hour course on Spring AI if you want to dive into that. That is the public API that we're going to use for most instances. All right, so there is our chat client. Let's go ahead and create a new controller to work with our chat model. So let's say chat model controller, and we'll go ahead and create this as a REST controller. I'll set up a request mapping for this just so it's separate, and we'll say chat model. All right. So again, the first thing we need to do is get an instance of what we are trying to use. We used the chat client before. Here I'm going to say chat model. Yes, that looks good. com.open. No, this is the one I want. And I'm going to go ahead and add this as a constructor parameter. Now we don't need a builder here. Spring will automatically wire this up for us because chat model is an interface, right? But there is just that one implementation of that interface. It knows how to wire this chat model up for us. So let's look at a couple different demos. Maybe we'll type this one out and then maybe we'll just kind of paste in the second one. But let's go ahead and say get mapping /fact, right? And we'll say public. Maybe this is going to return a map of string object. And we'll call this fact. And what we're going to do is we first need to create a prompt. So we're going to say new prompt. This comes from Spring AI chat.prompt. And we'll say, tell me an interesting fact about, let's think of something. How about my hometown of Cleveland, Ohio? How about that? We'll get a variable from that, prompt, sure. And then what we need to do is use the chat model. So chat model, let's rename this to, no, that's okay. So chat model, sure, .call. And then we're going to call that prompt, right? And what we're going to get back from that is a chat response. So let's call this response. Cool. All right. So now that chat response has a bunch of data in it, a lot of metadata about what's going on with this call and the response. So what I want to do is basically from the response, I want to get the result. And you see what that returns is a generation. So let's say var generation result. From the generation, we can say, oh, actually, let me get some usage too. We'll say get the metadata, so metadata about this call. And let's go ahead and get the usage from this call. So that is going to give us usage. So now we have the generation and the usage. Instead of typing this out, we'll just do something like this. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to return a map of string and objects. So the answer is going to be the result output get text. We're going to have a model. So from the metadata, we can figure out what model we're using. From that metadata, we can also find out why it stopped. We can get prompt tokens, completion tokens, total tokens, and more. So now let's go ahead and rerun this. Okay, so again, localhost 8080/chat model/fact. Don't know why I called that fact. That's okay. Chat model/fact. And let's see what we get out of this. We should get a map of string of objects with these keys and these values in that object. So here's the actual answer, the completion tokens, what the finish reason was. The model we were using was GPT-5 Mini by default. Again, you can go in and configure this in the configuration. Prompt tokens is what we sent to the model. Completion is what they sent back. The total tokens is the number of tokens for this kind of round trip. So you see that we were able to kind of dip down to the lower chat model here and maybe get a little bit more of a result. So I want to show you one more demo. Again, nothing interesting about me typing this out, but let's take a look at this. So we're going to call taglines. And in this case, we can generate several variations in one call. This is not, you can't do this with a chat client, right? Because chat client returns a single string. So you can't do it there. The chat model can return a list of generations. So what we're going to do here, and we're going to call this chat model. What we're going to do here is we are setting some options here. So we are able to kind of tweak the response. We are saying, here's our temperature. I want to increase the creativity. I actually want 3 responses back from the large language model, and we're going to pass those options in when we call it. We're setting a prompt, write a fun tagline for Orlando, Florida. We're going to get a response back from that prompt. And then what we can do is get the results, stream them, and then we can map them to the output text and just basically return a list of strings. Again, something you can't do with the chat client. So let's see if we can do this. Go back over here, HTTP localhost 8080, so chat model and taglines. And we should get a few different taglines for Orlando, Florida. Hopefully this is safe for work. I believe I've tested this once before, but it was a while ago. So here are some fun tagline options. Pick your favorite, and I'll tailor more. So here, I'm not going to read through these, but we get a list of taglines, and that we can do that with the chat model here. Although now that I'm looking at this, you might be able to do this with the chat client because I know you can pass those options in, but I don't know how you would get all of them back. So I'd have to test that out. But again, the chat model here is giving you access to lower level code that actually talks to the large language model, while the chat API is kind of the public API. So there you have it, chat client versus chat model. I get a lot of questions around this, like when should I use one? Again, just kind of default to the chat client. If you ever find yourself needing more, getting access to the chat model, you can just inject it and use it, and you're off and running. So huge fan of Spring AI. I know Spring AI 2 is out. I've not done a lot of videos on that lately. Hint, hint, they are coming. Excited about all the things happening around Spring AI, and I hope you are too. With that, I have a lot of fun putting these videos together because I get to learn things and I love to learn. So hopefully what I learned today and was able to put it together into a video was useful to you. If it was, you know what to do, friends. Do me a big favor, leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and as always, happy coding.